Hey, everybody, it's your pal Tom here on the Tom Gulley Show. Let me tell you about Jerry Springer. Well, not really Jerry Springer, the Jerry Springer Show. And in keeping with the fine tradition of the Jerry Springer Show, we are going to pin the link if people want to come on and get all Jerry Springer with us a little bit later on. But the Jerry Springer Show, you know, that sucker was on for 27 seasons. You know, I don't know really how they measure seasons anymore. But this one was, on for 27 seasons, doggone near 4,000 shows. And it went through a lot of changes, and it kind of defined crazy, daytime, messed up, white trash, low IQ television for a lot of people for a long time. Yeah, and I was a fan of that sort of thing, really, to tell you the truth. When it first came out, I think maybe it got a little predictable and a little not as good at a certain point, but I didn't watch it enough for that to. Took a long time for that to happen to me. So anyway, we will talk in depth about the Jerry Springer Show. I, still in mourning for yesterday's soccer match, and I've had very many Jerry Springer-like interactions with people about that on the internet. And that Hanyuk, that idiot that does the soccer games at the soccer tournament out in Cary, North Carolina, I don't know if he's still doing them or not. I don't know if the games today start later because of the final matches or whatever, but he's terrible. I mean, I didn't realize just how terrible he's terrible. He's just about illiterate. All the things that he says show how ill-informed he is. The game's going on, and he's just reading a player's as number 7 is Bill Johnson. He went to Oak Park Community College where he played forward, scored 3 goals that year. His brother was also a player on that team 2 years previously. He was runner-up for Conference Player of the Year. I saw him earlier. He was wearing black shoes hey man, there's a game going on. Why don't you describe the game? And then he says things like, the rules of this tournament, they took the rules of soccer and tore the manuscript up. Dummy, the rules are not a manuscript. The rules are actually a codified thing. They're not a manuscript. A manuscript is a proposal. The rules of soccer are not a proposal. It can't be a manuscript. And all sorts of things like this. It's terrible. It's cretin. Yes, a cretin. I said it, a cretin. So anyway, I'm going to play one song, and it's a rocker, by the way. It's a 90s inspired. Leon Kennedy told me this was inspired by like 90s grunge sort of. And then after that, let me tell you about Jerry Springer. Let me switch to stereo real quick. Bam.
If Tom was down in Texas, would he podcast with a smile? If he was in Ohio, could he fly? Behind his desk, wherever, can he see us through the Tom to go far, popping some pills for the man with the Letterman star. And if Tom came to your country, would you keep him for a while, surrounding yourself in his familiar smile? And when he comes around, the stadiums fill up fully. They shout, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley." They yell, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley." They say, "Is that him, Mr. Gulley? Is that Tom? It's Tom Gulley."
Hey, everybody, what's going on? What's hot? What's hip? What's happening? What is shaking? Let me tell you about Jerry Springer. Not Jerry Springer, the Jerry Springer Show. They're two very decidedly different. Man, my hair is really messed up today. I was sleeping before the show. Anyway, the Jerry Springer Show and Jerry Springer, two very distinctly different things. Both of them extremely interesting, but Jerry Springer himself, we'll do a show on him. You all know what I'm talking about. Anyway, we're going to tell you about the Jerry Springer Show. We're going to tell you that it started in a way that you might not expect. And we're going to tell you that there's actually some people that might have been very severely injured after being on the Jerry Springer Show, and a lot went on. Let's just say a lot went on with the Jerry Springer Show. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, retweet, notification bell, all the absolutely free things you can do that help us with the algorithm, the almighty, all-powerful, all-knowing algorithm. Plus, in addition to as well, if you're watching us live on YouTube, and maybe you weren't here yesterday for the birthday show, and you say, "Hey, what can I get, Tom?" We do have the super chats, the memberships, the gifted memberships, in addition to the fact that if you go to our YouTube description, we've got the PayPal. That's great for you audio podcast people. Just come to the YouTube, look in the description, the PayPal, where you give the most, I get the most. We cut out the middleman. Also, the TomGulleyShow.com has a wide variety of top quality name brand merchandise that you will love. It'll add a warmth and charm and a glow to any room. We've got mugs, coffee mugs, 3 different sizes, all the way up to 20 ounces, which is basically a trash can with a handle on it for those of you that really like coffee. We've got beer steins, we've got beer pint glasses, we've got shot glasses, we've got T-shirts in all colors, men's and women's. We've got long sleeve T-shirts in all colors, men's and women's. We've got hoodies with zippers. We've got hats. We've got coasters. We've got playing cards. We've got shower curtains. And we have your computer mouse pad. And more. There's actually more. You can get a computer bag if you want to. And that's all there at the TomGulleyShow.com in the merchandise section of our store. Well, what's going on here in our interactive YouTube chat room? The chef is here. He says Michael, not to be confused with Mikey. 2 separate individual, distinctly different human beings. Executive Chef Neil and the chef himself are holding down the kitchen. Sadly, I am on StreamYard, and I don't have all of the things that they sent me for food stuffs that I could show. But trust me, they're all really good. What in the heck is going on here? I thought I had that worked out. I'm sorry, guys. I took a nap and just totally, And of course, the $2 Dan came in and saying that I color my hair, which I don't. Look at all the gray that's in there. Come on, man. Look at all the gray that I got in there. Look at all that. Tons of it. You can buy some of that too. Just have to negotiate that privately. Tim, oh, I forgot. There we go. Put that up on the screen. Tim Jenkinson says, when will the Tom Gulley Chia pets be added? Chia. I don't know. Krias is here. He says, Tom and Jerry. I don't know who the Jerry is, but there's a Tom. I should have moved this over and stuff, but I guessed yesterday. Hey, I'm wearing my Arsenal funeral type top today. Sorry for the loss yesterday. I'm still recovering from that. Jerry Springer. Got it. Jerry Springer. I'm not that smart. I'm really not that smart. Nobody's ever accused me of being smart. Anyway, I did. I had that Hunyuk from, I don't know what his name is, but he was talking about all these other places. Just the worst announcer I've ever seen. If there was somebody kicked the ball too far, he'd say, that pass was overcooked. Overcooked? Who said? And if the ball went out of bounds and the ball skirts out over the near sideline, I'm like, skirts out. Nobody's ever said, nobody even knows what that means. You're saying dumb things. Don't say dumb things. Dumb. And just making it all about him and stuff's going on in the game. Screams out goal and the ball didn't even go in the goal. Had been at the tournament all day and didn't realize they were playing on grass. I'm not joking. Just the worst kind of frat boy bro announcing you've ever heard in your life. It's awful. Just awful. Hey, let me tell you about Jerry Springer, shall I? Should we do that? Should we do something like that, of that nature? Oh, God, why? Thank you, StreamYard, for just never, ever getting it. Never. Why would I go to where I'm dinky doo? Is this dinky doo size? No, that's not it. This dinky doo size. Why don't you just make me like this? When I didn't want to be like that, ever. Why don't I just get back to the way I want to be? All right, Jerry Springer Show, American daytime talk show, as you all know, hosted by this man here, Jerry Springer. If you'd like, I'd just do the whole damn show like this. I don't care anymore. Jerry Springer. Show ran in syndication, as I mentioned in the cold open, for 27 seasons from September of 1991 to July 26th of 2018, broadcast 3,891 episode, produced for most of its time by NBC Universal, taped there at the NBC Tower in Chicago, for about 18 years or so, and then it moved to Stamford Studios in Connecticut. There, that's a picture of those. Which would you rather be in? This studio here in Chicago or in Connecticut? And believe me, I've lived in Stamford, Connecticut. I've been to Stamford, Connecticut. And other than their exceptionally awesome train station, seriously, it's like an airport. It's really pretty cool. There's really no reason to live there. Now, the show started out, and a lot of you are going to have a difficult time believing this, but the show started out as a different kind of show. It was a very much a Phil Donahue-like traditional talk show. And we'll get into that more in a second, but it turned into a tabloid show pretty damn fast and started talking about very controversial subjects: incest, adultery, profanity, physical fights, scantily clad guests, chanting, heckling, nudity was often featured on the show, and including the flashing of a lady's upper mammalial carriage, which had them rewarded with something called Jerry beads. Nice place if you're a fan of concrete. Which of those two places? They're both pretty concrete oriented. Chicago has a lot of nice parks and stuff in it, though. It really does. It actually. Critical response, of course, to the Jerry Springer Show was overwhelmingly negative. It was really bad. It was terrible. Critics hated it. In 2002, TV Guide, and this is after it had been on the air for 10 years, called it the worst TV show of all time. And then despite all that, it was extremely popular. It was wildly, wildly popular. I can't even tell you. Wildly popular. Why was there always one hot girl fighting a real ogre, by the way? I'd like to... Can someone get on that and tell me why it was hot girl versus... Let me make that full screen a second. Hot girl versus ogre. Tim Jenkinson says the whole show seemed like an excuse for him to sleep with porn stars. I don't know that he needed that excuse after a little while. I think Jerry did okay. Let's see here. I'm going to go ahead and put the link up. I'm going to pin the link just because we're doing a Jerry Springer show. Why not a little Jerry Springer like wild, Oh, shut up. Did you guys have to hear that? Let me see if you had to hear that. No, good. You didn't have to hear just a touch of the pre-roll. Oh, shut up. A secret that a successful man won't... Blah, 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 blah. Shut up with your pre-roll commercial. Nobody wants your pre-roll commercial. I like the pre-roll commercial when it's like a movie that would interest me, or a trailer for the next episode of, say, the Dutton Ranch or some show that I like, or a show that I would like. But otherwise, I don't like the pre-rolls. Otherwise, they blow dog. All right, nice here. I pinned the link. I have pinned the link. Highly popular, especially around 1997 and 1998, when it had been on the air 6 or 7 years. The critiques of the show and all of the bad things that critics and other people would say about the show, the Jerry Springer Show, they warmly embraced those things. They warmly embraced them. Introducing the show as the worst show in the history of television and other things, and I'll tell you about some of those a little later. Jerry went off to host another show after he stopped doing this in 2018, which was called Judge Jerry, and it was canceled after 3 seasons. It wasn't nearly as good, but I think, number one, he had gotten tired of doing the Jerry Springer Show. Number two, the producer that really was the driving force behind it had left several years earlier. And number three, there is so much Jerry Springer Show out there that they can syndicate it forever. I mean, think about it. The Jerry Springer Show, there's 3,800 episodes of it. And you only need, Monday through Friday, 210 episodes for a full year of television. So, or something like that. Let me see, 260 episodes, sorry. Each episode of the Jerry Springer Show began with Springer entering the stage, being greeted by the standing audience made up of mostly college students, pumping the air with their right hand, chanting, "Jerry, Jerry, Jerry." And beginning in 2007, Jerry Springer would actually arrive on stage by sliding down a stripper pole. And then he would shake hands with some of the studio audience members and introduce the show's topic. This one is Past Guest Throwdown. There's my man, Jerry. There's my man. What are some of these previous guests on these other? That one doesn't have one there. Stripper Pole Showdown, that one. Lies and Lesbians. So, yeah, you can see there's obviously some Some really great shows there. Once all of the guests had told their stories, there was usually a question and answer segment where audience members asked the guest questions. And now in the early seasons, these questions tended to be serious. And the thing is that as the seasons went on and the shows went on, those questions, they were just big insults. They were gigantic insults. And that's when the show had ladies flashing their upper mammalial carriage for Jerry beads. They were Mardi Gras beads, but they had the show logo on them. And in later seasons, a serious question, this is how bad it got. A serious question was actually mocked by the studio audience with chants of "Go to Oprah, go to Oprah." And then the show was always ended by and this was to me a cop-out on the part of the show. Like, hey, all this awful, horrible stuff you saw up till now, I'm going to do a 30-second speech at the end with take care of each other. Till next time, take care of yourselves and each other, which was also his sign-off line when he was a newscaster in Cincinnati. Now, a little side note, I had grandparents that had a house out in sort of near the Indiana-Ohio border. And they had a TV antenna not on top of their house, on the side of their house. It was like a scaffolding that went up 30 or 40 feet, and you could actually aim that antenna. So they could get stations, and they got all of these stations, some better than others, but they got them in 3 different markets. They got them out of Indianapolis, they got them out of Dayton, and they got them out of Cincinnati. They were kind of right in the middle of that. So not only did I get to see Al Shuttlecotty news out of Cincinnati, I remember when Jerry Springer here was a news anchor in Cincinnati. And I also remember the first season of the Jerry Springer Show, which was shot in his Cincinnati, news studio. I remember that. I remember all this. So Jerry Springer, to me, was a news anchor. I didn't know he had been the mayor of Cincinnati at the time. But anyway, he would always end the show with the final thought. And if the show was lies and lesbians, he would say, relationships are never easy. And they're even a little more difficult if they're same-sex relationships. Certainly understanding and patience has to be a part of the blah, blah. And it's like, did you not watch the whole rest of your show? Because it didn't seem to have much to do with it. And it did to me seem like, okay, I'm going to get away with all the crap that just went down by this little 30-second yank. Anyway, Tim Jenkins said the funniest speech at the end was about his dad when he started crying. I don't recall that one, but I don't doubt it. I do not doubt it. Generally, Jerry tended to present his program standing up. He would pace the aisles between the seating areas, which was something Phil Donahue used to do out of Chicago. When he started, he was very interview-like, and he was at a person across the table. I'll show you some pictures of that, because early Jerry Springer was modeled after Phil Donahue, very much modeled after. And like Phil Donahue here, Jerry would get up in the crowd and ask questions a lot of his guest who would be on stage. Very Phil Donahue-like. But much like Phil Donahue here with Johnny Carson, when he started, he was at a desk and he had a traditional talk show. Jerry Springer did the very same thing. I know people can't believe that, but it is the truth. And then later on, like Phil Donahue, they gave Jerry Springer glasses and a nice haircut to make him seem more appealing, like Phil Donahue here. You bet you didn't know that, did you? Wonder what the furthest hair throw was. They did throw a lot of hair. Chair throw. Well, they threw hair too. Some girl would get her weave ripped off and whipped into the crowd. The chair throw. I don't know that. I think the chair throw record probably belongs to Geraldo's show. I think Geraldo famously got his nose broken when some skinheads went crazy. Turkatron said, I did like the early Jerry Springer theme song. It was less aggressive. So was the early logo. His early logo was like Jerry, and then they turned it into like prison type and brick and stuff. Guido Samurai says, oh, yeah, remember Geraldo. Also, the pacing that Jerry would do, that was also thought to protect him from like getting beat up. He was more mobile. He wasn't going to get punched in the face as much if he was moving around. And most of the violence occurred on stage anyway, and he didn't want to be on stage. He wanted to be in the crowd. So he even said, I'm always wearing a suit, I don't curse, and I wasn't in fights involving Jell-O, he stated in a retrospective. But sometimes the show would look back at previous episodes. They rebranded those as Classic Springer with a false masterpiece theater-like theme. Those shows usually had Jerry commenting on them and, whatever. According to NBC, the set for this show had three major changes over the years. When it first started in 1991, as I mentioned, it was very basic with white walls, and they were very definitely trying to mimic Phil Donahue, which was a kind of a serious, care about people kind of show, Phil Donahue. Phil Donahue was really educated, was really knowledgeable, and he was trying to solve issues of importance. He did not do, midget three-ways and things like, he didn't do any of that. And that's when it started in 91 in Cincinnati. When it moved to Chicago in September of 92, they had the same sort of open, type of set. In the fall, though, of 1994, a few months after the series underwent its big overhaul, the studio got a makeover. That's when it got the brick walls and the bookcases. They got stage walls that could be projected outward to the audience. There was a catwalk and things for the stripper wars, and the whole thing went to an industrial look at a certain point, and a larger studio, a bigger stage, a balcony. So the show was originally formatted as a traditional talk show, like I mentioned, and Springer discussed very serious issues, and he interviewed, and he could do this because he was the mayor of Cincinnati at one time, and he was a serious news anchor, kind of like me. He was a serious news anchor, and then just started being a schmuck. But he actually... Jerry industrial process those ladies. I don't know. Maybe it wouldn't have hurt him. Most of them were industrially processed before they got to the show. And he would interview like big time people like Oliver North and Jesse Jackson and Johnny Carr. He had big time guests. And then it eventually became a tabloid talk show. And he claimed that reformat was meant to get younger viewers. When he went to trash TV, it was to get younger viewers. And he got that idea from, oh God, the Jerry Springer warning. Was there anything, oh, okay, parents are cautioned, it might not be, so okay, look out, like they cared. There's Jerry. I'm marrying a transsexual. That is such a Jerry Springer episode right there. And Jerry, I was always looking on with concern, and a lot of fighting went on. A lot of fighting. And there's Steve, the bouncer in the background, just only slightly trying to break it up. He got the idea from Ricky Lake to go after the younger audiences, okay? And by 1994, the show started featuring fights and things like that, and episodes like High Class Hookers Tell All, Holiday Hell with My Feuding Family, My Boyfriend Turned Out to Be a Girl, I Want My Man to Stop Watching Porn, Threesomes with My Mom, Frank Scheck of The Hollywood Reporter claimed that the show's topics were a veritable smorgasbord of incest, pedophilia, adultery, hate groups, perversion, and humanity's worst instincts in general. Over the history of the show, they booked 30,000 guests. 30,000 guests. Turkatron said, do you ever see Ringmaster? See it? I own the DVD of Ringmaster. I should have found it and brought it out here for the show, but I do own Ringmaster. Ringmaster is kind of a send-up of reality, but there's a little reality in it. Chris says, may contain adult themes. Yes, they might have accidentally stumbled on an adult theme when they were doing, I'm sleeping with my grocer. Guido Samurai says, sounds like Dabbleverse video titles. Doesn't it, though? Now it really sounds like the Dabbleverse. Yes, it does. And the show was originally only seen in 5 markets. Cincinnati, of course, Macon, Georgia, St. Louis, Cleveland, and Knoxville. And that's where Multimedia, the company that produced the first season, had stations that they owned. All right. And that was the sort of the issues-oriented political talk show, a longer version of the commentary he'd do at the end, okay? Because Springer had kind of become famous when he was on an NBC affiliate as the news anchor, WLWT. And so there was a longer version of that the first year. He would talk about homelessness or gun violence, the social effects of rock music, which on that episode he had a guy I met and punched, Gigi Allen, and many others. In the second season, in the fall of 1992, the series was actually bought by NBC. And that gave him national distribution. It moved to that production facility of the NBC Tower in Chicago, leaving WLWT in Cincinnati. And yeah. Let's see here. Guido Samurai says, yo, you better stop and tell us about punching Gigi Allen right now, Tom. Well, I worked for a magazine that covered Gigi Allen on a number of occasions, and Gigi Allen played in the city where this magazine was located, and I happened to have been there one time, and we went and saw Gigi Allen, and we're backstage with Gigi Allen. And Gigi Allen, I had met many times before. Not many, but 2 or 3 times before. And had no problems with him. But I had seen that Gigi Allen, when he was all Gigi Allen'd up with booze and drugs and anything else he could find, he would start fights with people almost on purpose for some reason, that for no reason. And I'm standing there, and he's G.G. Allen, and I'm 6'5", and it was back in 1980. I don't know. It was in the 80s, I think. And good old Gigi started messing with me, and I could tell he was getting all froggy and stuff. And I flat out told him, I said, hey, man, I know you're the baddest guy in the world and you're going to pick fights with everybody, but not me and not now. I'm warning you, if you touch me, I will lay you out, man. And he waited till I wasn't looking, and he hit me in a really weird spot on the side and back of my head, and hard too. And I just turned around and grabbed him and started hitting him and carrying him to this. We were in a very small room, but outside that room was a bigger kind of backstage area. So we're in a side room, and if you went out to the side room, there's the curtain and the back of the stage, the whole back of the stage, which was a pretty big area. And of course it's cement. And I just took him out there and hit him a few times and then threw him on the ground. Was I taller than him? Oh my Lord, yes. Yes, I was way taller than him. He was about 5'11", and I'm 6'5". So, and so after I did that, he laid there on the ground moaning I just went back into the side room, and everybody's like, what happened? And I said, what do you think happened? And he came back in, and then he did what I had seen him do many times before, is then he started to buddy up to me. He was, hey man, everything's cool. Hey, and I'm like, no, everything's not cool. I don't know what's wrong with you. I've seen you do this before. You start a fight with somebody for no reason, and then you want to be friends. I'm like, I'm just the same amount of friend with you as I was before that happened. I barely know you. I am friendly with you because you do interviews with the magazine or whatever. But if you touch me again, I will beat you to the ground again. I don't like being hit. You apparently do. And that's why you get in these fights. Don't do it again. And he didn't. And I didn't really, after that, I had very little interaction with him. I could be standing right next to him talking, and yeah, whatever, man. I didn't, I'd see him and he'd go, hey man, how you doing? I'd say, hey, doing just great. How are you? I wasn't outwardly negative, and I also wasn't trying for any more interaction than I possibly had. I think I told him after the first time, I just said, hey, to me, you're a one-trick pony, okay? I don't think your music's very good, and that's just me. It's not my kind of music. It might be really good for somebody that it is their kind of music, but I don't care for it. And all the rest of the stuff you do, cutting yourself and throwing your bodily, that also, not for me. But culturally, I realize it's abnormal and it's out there, and that's why I'm here, is to cover it if necessary. Plenty of other people can talk to you and take pictures, and I'm just here because the rest of the magazine's here. It's possibly the greatest. It's not that great. I hope he peed his pants. He would have peed his pants whether I did that or not. That was part of his thing. I had an ex who used to worship him. I wish he could hear this story. Hey, look, Turkatron, I am not the only one with this story. This is a common thing that I saw him do. He was a masochist. He was a sadist. He liked being hurt. He liked hurting himself. So he would start fake fights, and he would, he was just a weird guy. I'd get to a thing and he'd be on a couch or something, just wrecked out of his mind. Hey man, there's my man. We're cool. And I'd be like, yeah, we're cool, all right. And then, I'd end up having to tell the story again. What's he talking about? Nothing. But it wasn't a big deal to me. First of all, I'd been hit harder by people, and I beat people up worse. That got beat up worse because they kept being in a position to be beat up. You hit him real hard 2 or 3 times, and he just, and then you throw him on the ground. He would get off on it, right? Yeah, I think he did. I think he did. But that's my G.G. Allen story, which somebody in the Pot Awful cult does not believe that I even met G.G. Allen. Turkatron, I think you probably know who I'm talking about, as it were, vis-a-vis, the kind of the serendipity of, he. Anyway, Jerry Springer increasingly became a freak show. This is my image. Thanks for sharing that story. Well, it's my pleasure. Jerry Springer became a freak show. This is my image for a freak show. I already showed you images of the Jerry Springer show, so those would normally serve. Sorry, audio podcast listeners. I've got an old circus freak show sign up right now. Where guests would really trying to become famous for deviant behavior. And Jerry even wanted people to send him videotapes explaining why they wanted Springer to have him on the show and stuff. Universal Television took control of this show, which is a turning point. The Universal Television, unlike NBC, they allowed the producer of the show to do anything he wanted to in January of 1997. That's when the onstage fights, which used to be cut for broadcast, okay? When Universal took it over, they were now openly being aired, because they had onstage fights before that. They just never put them on the air. And brawls, very crude topics, were encouraged by the good people at Universal Television here, right? They encouraged it. Shout out to Greg, right? You got it, Turkatron. By the way, I do have the link pinned at the top if anybody wants to be on the show. If G.G. Allen's, wait a minute. I don't think G.G. will be calling in. Anyway, so Universal now, they're amping this thing up. They're encouraging onstage fights. They want lesbian girlfriends to fight each other and not have very many clothes on. And as a result of going even more lowbrow, all right, with not only the topics, but the interaction between people, more vulgar language, the show becomes a smash hit. Okay. There were a few episodes of the Jerry Springer Show in February of 1997, that became the first broadcast television to have the TVM rating directly by the producers. TVM is that television mature. Yeah. In November of 1997, just as an example, Jerry Springer was up 70% compared to the same time the previous year. Okay? And in February 1998, it became the first show in over a decade to dethrone the Oprah Winfrey Show as the most watched TV show in a single week. Jerry Springer Show became arguably the biggest symbol in the rise of tastelessness and trash TV in the late 90s. And it attracted even more controversy, such as the episode I Married a Horse, which several stations that carried Jerry Springer, including Jerry's home station of WLWT, refused to carry. They would not broadcast it. He was a news anchor there. He was their guy, and they wouldn't do it. Additionally, Barry Diller here, who I've never really cared for Barry Diller. He's a billionaire businessman. He's chairman of Expedia. He founded Fox Broadcasting with Rupert Murdoch, and he just is a self-important turd. Let's see here. Turkatron says, my favorite Jerry Springer episode was the one where he had to cut open the wall of a house to rescue a fat man. Yeah, that super fat guy that he was so fat they couldn't get him out of the house unless they cut the wall down. Anyway, that was a good episode. Anyway, Barry Diller here. He was the head of the distributors of the Jerry Springer Show, Studios USA, and he ordered producers to eliminate physical fighting between the guests because he was upset by the show and the controversies, and they later permitted the fights as long as they were toned down, because he didn't get to be a billionaire by not being a scumbag. The show remained popular, though it lost its position as the most viewed daytime show by 1999, finishing slightly behind Oprah. But this guy's demands to tone it down, coupled with it losing its spot in the ratings, which those two things are directly linked. People didn't want it toned down. If anything, they wanted it toned up. Led to speculation that Springer would want a new distributor after his contract expired in 2000. But he remained with Studios USA, and he signed a 5-year deal worth $30 million year $2000. Now, the same year, a married couple, Ralph and Eleanor Panitz, were guests on an episode of the show called Secret Mistresses Confronted with Panitz's ex-wife, Nancy Campbell Panitz, in which they complained about Campbell Panitz's behavior and accused them of stalking them. Hours after that show was broadcast on July 4th, 2000, Nancy Campbell Panitz was found not alive anymore in a home that the three of them were fighting over. And Florida police soon confirmed they were treating the death as a homicide. It was then reported that Ralph Panitz, having been issued a first-degree murder warrant for the death, was trying to flee to Canada, Chris, to avoid prosecution. Upon news of the 52-year-old woman's murder, a spokesperson for the program issued a statement saying that it was a terrible tragedy. In August of 2000, Jerry Springer appeared on Larry King Live on CNN with good old Larry King. Larry King reporting the death of Dave, confidant to Michael Jackson. Burnt to a crisp outside his home, Larry King. Jerry Springer claimed it had nothing to do with the show and that his talk show does not glamorize deviant behavior. And I'm sorry, Jerry Springer's show, they might as well have called it the glamorizing deviant behavior hour. I mean, that's what they did. Anyway, on March 27, 2000, after a 10-day trial and 18 hours of deliberating from jurors, Ralph Panitz was convicted of the murder and sentenced to life in prison. In 2001, efforts by groups like the Parents Television Council and the American Family Association, which I didn't put their logo up because I know somebody that works for them, and he's a real scumbag. So why would I mean, you can't be part of the American Family Association to be a scumbag, but that guy is. So it's anyway. They forced advertisers to decrease or stop their sponsorship of Jerry Springer. In the UK, the Independent Television Commission banned Jerry Springer and other tabloid talk programs from being shown on television during daytime hours on school holidays in response to numerous parental complaints and concerns about the children's potential exposure to salacious content. Yes. And as a result, there was a short-running British version of the show made especially for British television called The Springer Show that was lighter and more tongue-in-cheek. I don't know how the hell they did that, but in 2003, it was revealed that a group of guests from Hayward, California, faked a love triangle for an appearance on 2 episodes of the show. One guest in the group was murdered, but the Hayward police determined his appearance on the show was not connected to his murder. So, in January of 2006, the show was renewed for its 16th season, ending speculation that Springer would leave his talk show to run for elected office in Ohio, where he briefly served as mayor of Cincinnati in the late 70s. And by this time, the show really began to poke fun at itself. I mean, really began to poke fun at itself. Using taglines like, "An hour of your life you'll never get back," and "Wasting technology since 1991. On May 12, 2006, Jerry Springer celebrated the show's 3,000th episode by throwing a party on the show where nobody but Jerry showed up, and showed many clips and rare excerpts from the show. I got to tell you, one thing I did like a lot about the Jerry Springer Show is that they did not take itself seriously, and they tried so many crazy things. They could have just stood pat and had strippers fighting each other every episode, but they didn't do that. They tried wacky stuff just in order to make the Parents Television Council mad. And I think that's a worthy goal. And by the way, I have pinned the link to the top of the page there if you'd like to be on the show or call me names or whatever people do when they come on. The year 2006 also saw the addition of fan favorite Reverend Schnorr, a drunken womanizing character who would often get into heated confrontations with guests while bringing a fresh comedic edge to the show. The character was created by then promotions director Brian Schnorr while studying at the Improv and the Second City Theater in the 1990s. Do I have a Second City Theater? No, I don't. I thought I did. By December 2007, Reverend Schnorr merchandise was outselling the show's popular security T-shirts on the NBC website. Oh, my God. In July of, hey, the wolf is here. Always good to see the wolf. In July of 2007, or OT7, as we call it now, it was announced that Springer was picked up by NBC Universal through the 2009-2010 season. Also, VH1 ran a documentary series, The Springer Hustle, about the behind-the-scenes aspects of the show, having already run another Springer-related documentary in 2005 titled When Jerry Springer Ruled the World. Jerry Springer's appearance on the NBC network show America's Got Talent led to an increase in viewership for the first quarter of 2007. Steve Wilkos filled in for Springer during the beginning of America's Got Talent, as well as when Springer was a contestant on Dancing with the Stars. Jerry Springer got out there and did stuff. The security staff for the program was also given new additions, new people, starting in the 17th season. 3 new film security guys. Hey, I've got somebody in my green room, and I just want to tell that person, you might as well leave. There is not a chance in hell of you being on this show. Okay? So you can leave on your own, or I can just ban you. Have it either way you want. They also added some pro hockey players, and they added mixed martial artists. They added Andrei Arlovsky. Check out that nose. You know he's a mixed martial artist. He's a really good martial artist, by the way. And Shoney Carter and Bas Rutten, who you've seen on a lot of movies and stuff. And, he's a good guy. So they added some famous people. Certain advertisers continued to avoid buying ad time for Jerry Springer. The series continued to keep steady ratings in the February 8th sweeps period. Executive producer Richard Dominic, who they would often cut to, big guy, bearded, heavy-set fella, he resigned shortly after the start of the 18th season, and Rochelle Consiglio, the wife of Steve Wilkos, replaced Dominic. There you go. I don't really care so much where the show is produced and all that stuff, but they did move it to Connecticut, along with Maury, the show Maury, and the Steve Wilkos show, along with NBC Sports. Springer said he wasn't happy with the move, but understood the financial reasons that they did that, and wanted to get jobs for those of his staff who wanted to move with the show. So they moved to Stamford, Connecticut, and the show went through a number of changes. The set was more colorful, new lighting, new guests, chairs, and new security guards, and a change in the theme music. And the 20th anniversary episode aired in Times Square. And in September of 2012, the show started airing in widescreen and 1080. All fancy. Yeah. What do you think about that? It's all fancy and stuff. So in the late 90s, the Jerry Springer Show, it basically caused Jenny Jones, Maury Povich, and yes, even Ricky Lake to revamp their own shows because Jerry was so out there in order to improve ratings. But major figures in television, along with many religious leaders, had called for the show's removal and considered it to be in bad taste. The phrase Jerry Springer Nation began to be used by some who saw the program as being a bad influence on the morality of the United States. And I would say it wasn't a bad influence on the morality of the United States. It was a reflection of the United States. Jerry Springer didn't create those people. They've always existed. Wilko's show wasn't good. He has the charisma of a frog. I would say that's the truth as well. In 1997 and 1998, that was the peak of the Jerry Springer Show. There's Ricky Lake, who fluctuated in weight throughout her show. But in the peak of the show in Chicago, this absolute tool right here, I can't believe this guy. He was on the Chicago City Council, and the City Council suggested if the fist fights and chair throwing were real, then the guests should be arrested for committing an act of violence in this city. And so this is Alderman Ed Burke, and he was concerned over the fact that the off-duty Chicago police officers that were security guards for the program failed to take legal action against fighting guests. Well, first of all, how do you know it wasn't staged? Second of all, I don't know that it was staged, but even if it wasn't, they're more than within their rights to sign a waiver that says, I agree to be in a fight or to be fighting with people on this show. And I absolve anyone there of any, this guy didn't have to get involved. Springer explained that the violence on the program looked real to him, also arguing that the fighting on the show never, ever, ever glamorizes violence, which I think is a crock. I think it does nothing but glamorize violence. Ultimately, the city council chose not to pursue the matter because they would have looked like a bunch of tools. And, oh, by the way, the city council are elected people. And throwing a bucket of cold water on the most popular show is likely to lose you a lot of votes, even in Chicago. Because of this probe and other pressures, the show fighting was taken off temporarily, and then they allowed it again, but less violent. And the less violent fights lost them viewers, you know. But it allowed them to say, look how respectable we are, you know. Anyway, jerk. That guy's a real jerk. By the way, other security people that they brought in were the Iron Sheik and Razor Ramon from World Wrestling Federation. I'm sorry. It's pretty funny to me. How is that a mirror, Tom? It was manufactured. What are you saying? That's ridiculous. It was manufactured. The only way it was manufactured is the topics and having people tell their stories. What do you mean manufactured? Those people were slimy before they got to him. The people, the Panitzes and that the husband and wife and the ex-wife, those people were that way when they got there. Springer didn't make them that way, and they were that way when they left, and he got rid of her. So, a reflection. Not a mirror, a reflection. There's a difference. Pay attention. Let's see. But it is notable that when Jerry did his next show, Judge Jerry, he deliberately shows a process that picked cases from cases that had already been filed in court to prevent would-be litigants from seeking out the show, as people suspected Jerry Springer did. Never was proven. Springer himself in 1998 called his own show stupid on the David Letterman show. By the way, I don't believe this is accurate because it says it did it in 1998. The David Letterman show aired in the early 80s, but maybe they were referring to The Late Show or whatever. Springer stated in an October 2000 interview with Reuters news agency, I would never watch my show. I'm not interested in it. It's not aimed toward me. It's just a silly show. So he himself said he would not watch his own show. There you go. All syndicated episodes of Jerry Springer were censored regardless of time to comply with the FCC broadcast decency standards. Initially, most profanity was bleeped. However, later episodes were bleeped for explicit language, sometimes to such an extent that the speech became incomprehensible, along with the mouth being spot blurred so viewers couldn't read lips. In addition, nudity, flashing of breast, which was common, buttocks and genital areas, as well as the middle finger, were pixelated. After longtime producer Richard Dominic left, the show reverted to the traditional style of bleeping, which remains in place today. The New York Times report from April of 1998, near the height of popularity of the show, found that each episode had about 85 to 130 bleeps. Bleeps. So there. The New York Times listed it as one of the worst television shows of 1995. Chicago Tribune listed it as the second worst show of 1996. The show also topped TV Guide magazine's 2002 list of the worst TV shows ever. For time, the show itself would have boasted about this ranking in the opening credits. In 2005, the program became the subject of criticism in Bernard Goldberg's book, 100 People Who Are Screwing Up America, with Springer being ranked at 32. Goldberg also claimed that Springer was knowingly capitalizing on the disadvantages of his guest and the stupidity of his audience, also citing the controversial episode revolving around the man who married his horse. As the show's popularity peaked, a backlash began about tawdry content and increasing violence. Bob Iger, then the chairman of ABC, ABC, a paragon of never pandering with any of its programming. The whole 70s on ABC were ways to show boobs and butt. But anyway, he called it an embarrassment to the television industry, and then Senator Joe Lieberman employed stations to stop broadcasting it. Many companies refused to advertise on the show due to its reputation. And for that reason, while the show had higher ratings than Oprah Winfrey at the time, the cost of a 30-second ad was less than a third of that charged by Oprah. Most of the commercials during Jerry Springer were 1-800 number ads for technical schools, personal injury law firms, mortgage lenders, insurance companies, and health services. Oprah Winfrey herself, in a 1999 interview with the Sunday Times, strongly criticized the Jerry Springer show. She said, "I'm in disbelief about the things that are happening on television talk shows. How low can I get? Can public taste keep on sinking? Yes, it can. I have to get out," hinting that she would quit her own show after her contract expires. And can I point out, that is one of the more hypocritical things that have ever been said in the world, because she went pretty lowbrow herself for quite a while till her show became popular. Let's not turn it into Oprah was doing God's work the whole time. She was super lowbrow herself. Guido Samurai says, "How does anyone screw up America?" I don't know. You allow bad people broadcasting soccer games in North Carolina. Zalipa's laughing. Terry Neal says, "You look older." I am technically older. But you know what else, Terry? And I know you know this. As old as I look today, you're older than me. The queen of exploitation dissed Jerry? Yes. Yes. In one of my personal favorite Jerry Springer moments, oh my Lord, the show was parodied in the film Austin Powers, The Spy Who Shagged Me, which I really ought to watch just for fun this evening. I have it on DVD. Dr. Evil and his son Scott appear on the show to discuss being evil, which ends with Dr. Evil and Springer himself brawling on stage. It was very funny. Along with Springer, Steve Wilkos and Todd Schultz played themselves in the movie. In 2003, a British opera inspired by the series Jerry Springer the Opera began playing in the United Kingdom. And on January 7th, 2025, not that long ago, Netflix released a documentary about the show called Jerry Springer Fights Camera Action. There you go. Turkatron says, "It's interesting that on Married with Children, Peg was an Oprah fan, but it was Jerry Springer that actually cameos on that show as the masculine feminist." That is very interesting and very true. Terry Nee says Perry Caravello was in it. What, the Austin Powers movie? Yes. Oh, the Austin Powers, that is. Thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. Zalipa says the birthday celebration continues. I am continuing to celebrate my birthday today. I had an ex-girlfriend at one point that was all about it's my birthday week and all that kind of, and I always used to make fun of her. Now, yesterday I got up, Arsenal played, that was awful. I came here, I did a 4-hour show. When it was over, I was like, it's missed my birthday. I haven't done anything for me, for the big fella. Huh? So yeah, I'm continuing to. And this morning I got up, I got sucked into a conversation. Then I had to produce this show that I didn't know I was going to do. And so yes, the birthday celebration does continue, Salipa. Although we have not met our goal at any amount of money yet today. By 2005, security director Steve Wilkos became a cult figure on his own. How, I don't know, but he did. And he would close each show walking down a hallway, engaging in casual talk with one of the more colorful guests of the preceding episode. That sometimes was actually funny. He would also occasionally host the show. Episodes that he hosted were intended to be more serious in tone than the typical episode of Jerry Springer. Wilkos left Jerry Springer at the end of the 2006-2007 to pursue a spin-off talk show, The Steve Wilkos Show. It was also shot at the NBC Tower in Chicago and produced by Richard Dominick, who continued to produce The Jerry Springer Show as well. Another thing that spun off, hold on here. How is the pulled pork? It was amazing. God, it was good. And tater salad. Turk, you think it was a play on Peggy's lack of self-awareness? Maybe. Terry Nee shatters our daily goal of any amount of money with a $2 super chat. Boomer birthday weekend. Thank you, Terry. Although I am, as we all know, Generation Jones. There was DVDs marketed as Too Hot for TV, which were Jerry Springer videos. They contained uncensored nudity, profanity, and explicit violence, such as punches and slaps, deemed too intense for daytime television, that was edited out of broadcast in order to conform to FCC standards for television broadcast decency and suitability. Those releases, Too Hot for TV, sold and rented extremely well and inspired a lot of other shows to do the same thing. I have some from Cheaters. Yeah. Eventually, the show started producing similar uncensored monthly pay-per-view video-on-demand specials as part of In-Demand's Too Much for TV brand of pay-per-view on-demand content. In 2015, Springer brought the Too Hot for TV format to the WWE network for a series of episodes featuring WWE's most controversial segments. I told you about the Springer show that they made in England that was tamed down quite a bit. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is all I really have to tell you about the man, the myth, the media legend. Oh, there's your surprise. I was going to promo this surprise that someone made and put on the internet, but there's me as the Riddler. Chef Gulley. Yeah, I was chefing it up a little bit. Not hard to do pulled pork, though. Griddle samurai. I have no idea. But I was supposed to tease that at the beginning of the show. If you stay at a certain point, then you got the big surprise there. There you go. We were talking about it on yesterday's show, so I downloaded it and put it up here. And there you are. There's that whole thing. Yep. Yeah. Anyway, I did. That's a pretty cool Riddler costume. Well, it's been AI'd or something. It's been AI'd or something. It's not. It's not really. The pictures of me in like a goalkeeper outfit at an indoor soccer place, and they just AI'd the Riddler part of it on there because they think it's fun to make fun of me. Anyway, the link has been posted at the top of the page. There's really only one person I won't allow on the show, and that person's gone now. Thank God. Because they thought I was a person to be trifled with. And I'm not. So they can, Chris says, great show. I said something about Canada during the show, Chris. I can't remember what it was offhand, but did I mention the Dabbleverse is just awful? And if you like the Dabbleverse, there's a very good chance that you are awful as well. Not definitive, but there's a really good chance. There is absolutely not one thing about the Dabbleverse that is worthy or beneficial to any thinking person in the universe. Not one. There is, Turkatron said, I'd go on, but I'm pretty annoying to talk to. All right. Canada loved Jerry. And can we mention just in a sad note, that, here we go. Jerry Springer died at his home in Evanston, Illinois on April 27th, 2023, just a little over 3 years ago at the age of 79. A family spokesperson said he had been diagnosed with pancreatic cancer a few months prior to his death. I got to tell you, man, that pancreatic cancer, when you get that, it is not long. It is not long. We will do a show someday just on Jerry Springer. Him and his life deserves a whole show of its own. But it was very sad to learn of the death of Jerry. And he was 79. It's not like he was my age, a young man. But, and supposedly he was a very, very nice person. Everybody I know, a good friend of mine was on America's Got Talent, got second, as a matter of fact. And it was the first year when he said Jerry Springer was super cool and just super nice with him. So, yeah. Turkatron agrees with my assessment about the Dabbleverse. And Zalipa says, R.I.P. There's nothing about the Dabbleverse. Is it intelligent? No. Are you learning anything? No. Is it just a bunch of people that are still apparently in third grade making fun of people that either can't defend themselves or aren't that bright? Yes. And if you're delighting in that, you got a problem. You just, it's absolutely not one beneficial thing. And who cares about the lives of these sociopathic chew toys that have stumbled into it? And I'm not even talking about Stuttering John. I mean, we can take that whole issue right there and say, oh, you're mad that he sued you? Did you not see that he sued Sharon Stone? Did you not see that he sued his former boss, Howard Stern, and his program or the company that owns it? Did you poke him with a sharp pencil every day with 2, 3, 4 hours of programming, just ridicule him nonstop? Did you contact people he knows? Did you steal his garbage? I could go down the list. Oh, he sued you after all that? Huh. Who'd have thought? Oh, wait a minute. I know. Anybody with a brain. That's who would have thought. Is he striking your show all the time? Huh. Wow. Maybe he's sick and tired of it. Just is it your right to do it? Yeah. It's your right to be a jerk online at 7-Eleven too. But if you do it long enough, something's going to happen that you don't like. How are you mystified by that? How is that, Oh, and to the ecosystem surrounding all that is now desperately trying to find someone else to make fun of. To the whole ecosystem, do you need the money that bad? Is that what it is? Okay, if you are desperate for money, I mean, if you are just, oh God, I need the money, fine. The survival is survival. But probably you could figure out something else if you're really talented. Some of the people at the top of that food chain, the people at the bottom, I get it. But do you not understand? Maybe it's because I'm getting older and just got a little older yesterday. Do you not understand what a legacy is? Do you really want at some point in time to have to look somebody in the eye and say, I spent X number of years hip deep in discussing totally non-functional people and picking on people that are just not quite capable of, and having little slap fights with other people doing the same thing? And Chris says, agreed, Tom. Guido Summers says it's a bitch move. But that's my point is, you know, it's the exact same thing as the kid in math class that you poke every day. And then one day he cuts you with his protractor. And well, I don't believe he did that. I didn't think he was going to get that upset. Didn't you? The Dabbleverse has no redeeming quality. There's not one single redeeming quality in it. And look, I know people that I think are really talented that are in the Dabbleverse and that I really like as people. I'm not stopping them from doing anything. I'm not naming any names, but it's disappointing to me. But they apparently have decided I need the cash grab. Okay, go for it, man. I don't have to watch it. I don't have to be part of it. But the Dabbleverse, eesh. Sheesh. And now that guy's gone, and everybody's like, I guess we'll just cannibalize each other. Is what we'll do. All right. That's all I got. See, this is why I don't do StreamYard and pay for it anymore. The link's been open. The only person that want to come on is a huge troll that I'm never going to speak to again as long as I live. And hopefully. Or as long as they live, which is an even more appetizing thing to think about. But there's not a single thing. What's a good ending song here? Man, I really like that Frequent Frequency song. I can't come on. I talk like a deaf black. That's. I don't even know what that means, but I've heard you talk. You talk fine. I just remembered. I've heard you speak. I have heard you speak before. Let me see here. What do I really want to? What's the? Congrats on Arsenal winning the Premier League. Thank you, Turkatron. And thank you for not pointing out how we lost in penalties yesterday in the Champions League, which is why I'm wearing my black funeral Arsenal t-shirt today. I could, Birdland would be great. Oh, Birdland. Nothing better than a Ball State soccer game across from La Follette. Opened up with Birdland while we warmed up, and the other team looking over like, what is going on? What? That's weird that they're having the Manhattan Transfer version of Birdland playing. And then we go straight into Eminence Front by The Who. Hey, let's see, got to dial G for Gully or just, well, let's just do this one. This one's, people like it, and it's catchy. And I can't play Birdland. It's heavily copyrighted. That's another thing, playing all these clips of other people that you don't have permission to play and then getting upset when you get struck. Read your terms of service. It is troll logic to go, well, yeah, but man, that's not cool. No, well, you just don't do that. No, you just do. If it's your property, you just do. Sorry. Read your terms of service. Go out into the real world. And these people hide behind fair use. I got a hot news flash for you. Fair use isn't what they think it is. It's not as indestructible as they think it is. Believe you me, it just isn't. How do you think the NFL and the World Wrestling Entertainment and those people, how do you think they can stomp out just about anything whenever they want to? But anyway, read your terms of service. And commercial entities are heavily allowed to regulate the content on their platforms. Heavily, for business reasons. So all your fair use, if you have your own platform and you want to use fair use, hey, rock on. But on someone else's, someone else can go, no, I shut that down because it was just a little too close and we don't want to take a chance. Every judge in the world's going, that seems like a fiduciary. Yeah. As Lipa said, I got here late. Get to Rochester. Yeah, man, it's all there waiting for you. The wolf says, they just believe it was good manners in the days of the Greeks and the Romans. It's just considered good manners. Yeah, it was. All right. Well, we'll go back to OBS tomorrow because when I got done doing this show yesterday and I started doing some other stuff, my computer crashed on me like a bunch of times. A bunch of times. And I had to zap the pram, and I had to get rid of all the cookies, and it took me about an hour and a half, and it sucked. Zalipa says Dr. Phil infamously crushes fair use. Yeah. Well, another thing is they got to revisit fair use. I know that Leonard Lessig guy is all about it, but when people are using fair use to harass other people, I mean, he would say, well, of course, you can't use it to do this and to do that, things that are wrong or illegal. Wrong is a really nebulous word, and they're going to have to revisit that in the digital age of just, no, this is mine now. And I've even had this discussion with Jesse P.S. If you're a small show and an aggregator, meaning a clip show, a clip channel, these guys that don't create anything, they never have, they never will. They couldn't create a 5-second clip of their own, but they're really good at going, and because they don't have anything else better to do, watching other people's show, taking the best part out of those shows, and then posting that clip. Obviously, if I could go to the whole, let's say, Netflix catalog and pick out anything I wanted and clip from it and make my own channel that just showed the best of Netflix, I'd probably get an audience pretty quick, wouldn't I? Yeah. It's like, remember that doofus, Don, what's his name again? The Letterman guy, Don Ziller, what was his name that I made fun of so much? I should have, what did I do with his scorecard? Maybe it's over here still. I don't think it is. I think I might have just gotten rid of it. I hope I didn't. What was that doofus's name? Don. God dog it. Dr. Phil is Oprah's Jerry Springer. Well, Dr. Phil also spawned Dr. Oz. Oh, here it is. the Dons. Remember that? Remember that guy that when I did my Letterman show, had all the criticisms and stuff? And I pointed out to him that he was stealing Letterman's material. He's like, well, at a certain point, they were, and I said, well, what point was that? How long did you make that, were you doing it illegal? You know what I mean? Don Giller. Yeah. When did he start his YouTube channel, Don Giller? Because you did it for a long time and it was illegal before somebody finally said, okay, well, that's my point, is that his audience of however many, 120 million people that he got watching it or whatever it was, views, that maybe it was 125 million views. You don't get that unless you aggregate all that stuff in one place. And so if you're a small show and one of these big clip things starts taking the best of your stuff, you're never going to grow ever, because people are just going to watch the clipped highlights. And the clip show people will say, well, no, of course it spurs people to go to your channel. No, it doesn't. Now, if you become a big giant show and some people take a little clip from you, you don't care. You reach a certain size and you're just fine, let them do that, whatever. But if you're a small show, these people that create nothing, they are blocking out the sun. And that's crap. That does not foster creativity, which is the whole reason Section 230 was created. They said, well, we're not going to penalize any of these platforms because we want creativity to thrive. Well, that time is long since come and gone. And so if you can take my stuff and just have it, that's not fostering creativity. Dr. Phil is Oprah's Jerry Springer. Yeah, well, Dr. Oz is an Oprah creation. And yeah. So I guess that's going to do it. I guess that's all we got today. Be back tomorrow. I don't know what the show's going to be about. I thought I would just do Jerry Springer today. It's Jerry Springer-esque. I thought people would like Jerry Springer. I guess I was wrong. Sleeper says, transformative use exists. It does, but there's like 4 elements to fair use. Uncle Fatty says, I was always more of a Montel guy myself. Montel was okay. There's more than you can't just be transformative. Okay, you got it. The purpose and the character of the use. Is it for non-commercial, educational, or commercial gain? These people that are transformative, that's for commercial gain. Okay? And that is really different than educational or non-commercial. If you're using it to make money off of somebody else's content, it's a little bit of a strike against you. And then there's the nature. Okay? There's more flexibility when using factual or published works than highly creative fictional works. Okay? So if you take something that is a creation of mine that is not factual, now you're on, So when John sings a song that he made up on the fly, when I have a banter in an interview that is spontaneous with someone, the courts are going to say you can't steal that. If it's a factual thing, the amount and substantiality of the portion used, the greater percentage of the work. I don't care if you are transformative. If you take an entire one of my shows, that's going to get you dinged. Just is. The effect of the use on the market, okay? It's if the person taking my work can, if what they took only cuts off the certain portions and can substitute for my original work, that's not fair use. You know, that there's a bunch of different things that go into it. So these guys that go, well, it's transformative, and just stop the discussion, that ain't circus. You know, by the way, Sledgehammer is free on YouTube. Well, that's just because somebody hasn't reported it or something. I don't know. Jerry definitely changed the system. Yes, Jerry definitely did. Some commentators have it down. Others are just rip-off artists. That's true. That's true. But if you focus on one person and every single thing they do is fodder for your making money, you know, at a certain point, a court is going to go, I don't know about that. You know, it's legit on YouTube. Oh, YouTube free shows. So there's ads in the middle of it. I got you. That's different. That's totally allowable. By the way, I've noticed on a certain channel, oh yeah, the wolf says parasites. Boy, is he right. I've noticed on certain channels, and one in particular, that nothing certain people do is right. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You know, hey, the person they're trying to make fun of says, like right now, it's May 31st. And they say, I already got the tickets for the Buffalo Bills Chargers game on the 2nd of December. Who gets the tickets for December game in July and in June and May? Who does that? A lot of people do that. But there's a who does this. They say it all the time. Who does that? Who does that? Man, a lot of people do a lot of things that seem pretty normal or pretty well within the why do you care or what. It's just, I get so sick of these queeny, bitchy, look at that guy. Who can, everything he does is just, God, I can't believe it. I'm mad at him because he's suing me. Well, yeah, you know, you did how many hours making fun of him on the internet and built, you know, a money machine, an ATM, making fun of him with, in many cases, unreasonable crap. And you know, I'm not saying you coerced, but you elicited other people to harass him in public. And for everything I say, well, what about when he did this? I don't really care about that. Because if you're the one that's starting the argument with this guy is non-functional and laughable and a person to be ridiculed, you really can't hold them to the same standard that you would a rational, clear-thinking, successful, efficient person. You know, it's so you did all your stuff, but yet you're clean hands. But then he sued me. So yeah, so now you have carte blanche, and that's your rationalization for all the hours and hours and hours you and maybe your significant other and maybe 3 other people, you know, that you brought in. It's a waste of time. It's a dilatory exercise. It's for people of low intellect. It really is. I'm sorry. I mean, I am sorry. Is it occasionally funny? Yeah. You know, if you get super funny people saying things, every now and then they're going to say or do something that's really funny. But anymore, it used to be once in a while they would talk about it and I could kind of pay attention to it. And then some of them were almost proud of saying, yeah, I'm not really into that. Now, some of the people I really like that used to say, I'm not really into that, are just hip, deep, full on, toot, toot, throw some more wood into the steam shovel. It's ridiculous. I mean, I could not look myself in the mirror. And was I on some shows that were doing that early on? Yeah. Like maybe 2 or 3. I think a couple of them weren't even that wasn't even the only topic they were about. In fact, I know one of them wasn't about it at all. But real quickly, I'm like, this is the same show every single day. It's, look at the dumb thing today. Hey, he made a video. Yay, let's go over it like the Zapruder film. It's like me, if I held this up, somebody would go, that's a 2015 Mac Mini controller. Yeah, it is. Why is it on my desk? It's in a little, I don't even know what it is. It's a little plate that holds a bunch of crap. And I've just had it there forever. Well, it's like this thing. To be honest with you, I don't even know what's in here. I just throw things in it every now and then. Oh, look, I've got a Allen wrench thing that is a socket wrench. I don't know. Oh, look, I've got a flashlight that you hook onto the front of you don't have to. That you hook on the brim of a hat. I think, yeah, you hook it on the brim of your hat here in the mountains. And at nighttime, when you're walking around, it's just right in front of you. How did it get there? I don't know. I've got a pen here from the Due South convention I went to. RCW 139, shouting out. What else do I got? I got a pen here from the North Texas Sports Network. There we go. All right. I mean, oh, look at who has a pen like that. I looked up that network. They didn't even cover the Texas-Oklahoma game the way they should. Where do I want to put that back? Where does that go? Where's that? Where would that look nice? Right about that. Let's put it right there. Have a go at the lamp too if you want to. I don't care. That's the way they do, you know. Here, you want to say something about the koozie that I got from the supermarket in the town with 500 people, and this is the only one they had? Go ahead, I don't care. Here's my LG earphones. You want? I bought these off of Adrian Curry. You want to make fun of those? Okay, fine. Do whatever you want. But they get ass deep in all that stuff, and it's just like, brother, do you think somebody that wanted to spend the time couldn't just ridicule the crap out of you nonstop? They could. They'd probably make a pretty good dime on it too. I don't know. I don't care. I'm not in that world. I don't know. There's plenty of ways to make money on YouTube. Then there's also, what do you really feel like doing for fun? You know, does anybody think that this is my, that I make a living doing this on YouTube? Do you? You'd probably be pretty stupid if you thought that. Or maybe I did it for a lot of money in front of, oh God, that's the other thing. The number of people that you're in front of at the stations the size I was working at for as long as it would. Those guys multiply times 100 what they're doing. They're not even a tenth of the way there. Maybe I did that where I had to do certain things that I really didn't like to do and that weren't that fun. And I thought, hey, why don't I do this? Because I would like to do it and it would be fun. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe, just maybe. Anyway, nobody's got anything to say all of a sudden. Another reason I'm not going to do StreamYard anymore. Yeah, but StreamYard yesterday, boy, it was, that thing, if anybody that's got a Mac knows what this is you're just doing something and then the screen goes black and then it puts something up in like Chinese and then in English, or it's in Chinese, English, and French at the same time. And it says, something went wrong, press any button to restart. And you do, because that's what you got to do. And then it loads itself again, and then you restart it and zap the pram. And then after it does that, anyway, that's what it did after I was on StreamYard. It's another reason to not like StreamYard. But yeah, the Dabbleverse is a painful rectal itch. And it's too bad because like Terry Nee, I know he's into the Dabbleverse and he really likes it. And I really like Terry Nee. But I don't think any less of him. I can have friends that think and do all sorts of stuff. But if you like it, you're a little bit of a cretin sometimes. I mean, what do you get out of that? I mean, did you never hang around with a bunch of other kids that drove around on bikes when you were in 6th grade and you need that experience again? Is that what you're doing? And they have these round tables like, let's all figure out what do we think of what happened today to so-and-so. Okay, so there's you, a career drunk. There's a guy older than me with an eye problem that's the biggest pearl clutcher you've ever seen in your life. There's a chick that used to be married or live with the guy for 10 years that defecates in a cooler and lives in a shed. And then, should I continue? Not that, and I'm not being critical, but I'm just saying, is there no threshold for who are we going to listen to in terms of ridiculing other people? Or is it just all exposition? Is any random thought a person has is just valid? And everybody's on equal footing in that regard. Acumen, accomplishment, logic, reality, none of that matters. It's just blah, all the time. Good Lord. I shouldn't even be talking about it this much. I'm waiting for the birth of the Gooniverse. Or what did he call it yesterday? The Gooniverse or the Goonverse? I don't know. Uncle Fatty says, I love the poorly educated. And Uncle Fatty, I met him on a show. I can't recall whether it was the Urban Landlord or Stanley's. Maybe it was on the Urban Landlord when Stanley was on it. Now, the Urban Landlord is a show that just loves, and I'm not mad at any of these people either, but they just love to wait around in human misery. I mean, if they can find, especially if it supports their viewpoint on certain racial mixtures and things, they just love that. And then it's the greatest thing in the world, man. They just, but then also, Stanley, little bit of a tyrant, which I don't mind, but both of those programs have a real, You can be 27 sheets to the wind and be on the air, which that's their choice. But when you allow other people that are 27 sheets to the wind to talk over people, or one of them's a girl you like, so you're going to mute somebody, and also the urban landlord program. There's a show, In Search of Knowledge. They don't need a fact to talk for an hour about something that's not factual. And then Stanley's program. Okay. So then Stanley's program is almost at a certain point like a lecture in a college that you didn't sign up to go to. So the wolf says, wait, didn't I destroy Fatty? I don't recall. I don't know why you would do that. Uncle Fatty's a relatively nice chap. Seems like a nice chap to me. Let's see here. There's a bunch of happy birthdays in the Discord. I don't know. Let's not be destroying each other. Let's all just come to an understanding. But I tend to, if I'm not, I don't go where I'm not wanted, and I don't tend to hang around people that are, not conducive to what I'm trying to do or whatever. There's no reason to do that. Let's let them go live their life, have a nice life, and I hope all the Dabbleverse people do. And if you like the Dabbleverse, man, you go in there and you eat that Dabbleverse with a spoon. Go ahead. I'm not stopping you. The troll I had in college. I don't know which troll you're talking about. You're not talking about the little fat girl, are you? Hey, little fat girl. Be careful on the ice, little fat girl. I'll never forget that. All right. Okay, I guess that's all we got. Did I pin the thing? Oh, yeah, I did, because Dumbass came in here. And, I do. Maybe I just need to find a way to do that on OBS. That's what I'll do. I'll figure out a way that people can try to be on OBS, because I really don't like StreamYard. All right, then. That's all we got. I'm going to go ahead and play this last song. And, till next time, we'll see you next time. Let's just go ahead and, all right. Welcome to the world of stereo sound. I should play. You know what I should play? Daggone it. Why don't I do that? Let me find something here. I just thought of something. This will be better. I'll enjoy this better. Sleeper says, thank you, Tom. You're welcome, Sleeper. Let me see here. Who listens? If this doesn't find it, then I'm screwed. Then I am screwed. Now this will be great. I'm going to dedicate it to Barry Weiss and everybody at what used to be CBS News Radio. Daggone. I got to tell you something about this mountain stuff. Is my bod is still not completely acclimated. There's a couple of different things, and one of them, and maybe this isn't it. I don't know what it is, but it's just like I got a frog in my throat 24 hours a day. Might have to do with the dehydration. You get dehydrated when you move to the high altitude for a couple of months, and you're just constantly drinking fluids. And then also, as you might imagine, if you're constantly drinking fluids, there's other things that happen to your body that are just, that you have to do every 5 minutes. But yeah. Hey, that little fat girl. We'll have to tell that story again sometime. I bet you she still wakes up with cold sweats around Christmas time, thinking about the day that she slipped on the ice. And I had to hear a bunch of guys laughing at her. What is the deal with this trying to find this piece of music? Come on. Can't take this long. For the love of Mike. If I have to sit here and wait for it any longer, I'm going to have to start talking about the Dabbleverse again. I don't want to do that. Nobody wants that. Nobody wants to hear that. I don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear that. Oh, by the way, audio podcast people, you can I've had some really nice people follow lately. And that's nice with the podcast people because, of course, unlike the real live show, I don't get to talk to you back and forth. Wish I could. But if you can follow along on the various platforms, or like the shows on the various platforms, oh, man, that's why that's special. That's just a good thing. That's that's really nice of you. For the love of God, can you please just find the thing I'm looking for? This is part of that, the wolf's laughing. Hello, little fat girl. Well, you're the one that did it. I was just standing there laughing. I was just standing there rubbing it in. I want the guy that actually did it. I can't believe this thing is searching for this for so long. God almighty. And this is part of StreamYard, by the way. If I was using OBS, it would not take this long. StreamYard screws my computer up massively. I know I'm going to have problems with it when I end the show. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. And then they sent me a survey and had me in, oh boy, that was a mistake. That was a big mistake. What on earth? How can it take this long? This is ridiculous. It's like it doesn't even recognize there's a library. Always be nice to hefty underclass students. Because she was hefty too. And that was back in the age of those puffy parkas. And she looked like a Virginia ham or something, the ribs in it and just click, 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 click. Hey, little fat girl. Okay, I can't. I just can't any longer. I know there's another spot that I have it, and I'm just going to go with that. Jesus God. That's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's all I guarantee it's StreamYard. Guarantee it. Absolutely guarantee it. Here, let me just give you a little backstage tour. When I'm done using OBS, and I could do a 3-hour, 4-hour show, I will have used, when I go to my preferences, I will have maybe 15 megabytes of storage and ancillary things that it's used to produce that show. When I use StreamYard, it's like 180. It's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Let me see here. I don't know why I didn't just go to this to begin with. I really don't know why I didn't go directly to this to begin with. Well, because I thought it would just look it up for me, like it does when I'm using the other thing, the OBS. Let me see here. There we go. Now see why the Heidi hooey can I you know what I'm saying. All right, hold on. This might get too loud unless I back her down a little bit. Somebody yell in the chat room if this isn't the right this or that. All right, here we go. Do I even want to put this in stereo? Let me just see. File. Let's see. Audio file. It's not going to tell me, is it? It's not going to do that, is it? No, it's not. Details. Come on, man. Crud. I'm just going to make an assumption here. All right. We're out of here. And listen to this. And if it's too loud, I don't know what to tell you, man. If it's too loud, hey, man, I don't know what to tell you. We'll just play it in mono. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow.
Who listens to radio? That go where you go, medium go radio. That's with you every night through the long commuter fight, and in the morning with your toast and mama lady-o.